Welcome, weary travelers, to this explainer. Go ahead and pull up a seat, get comfortable, and just imagine we're gathering around a crackling campfire beneath a massive canopy of desert stars. I'm Amir, and tonight, well, I'm not here to just dissect some old legend. I'm here to share my own chilling survival story from the ancient Silk Road. It's a deep, dark plunge right into the human psyche. We're going to be talking about the City of Shadows, a place that completely defies logic, challenges our absolute deepest desires, and really tests exactly what we are willing to sacrifice for ultimate wealth. Let's get right into it.
Before I take you back out into that scorching desert, I've got to ask you a pretty profound question. Would you trade your happiest memory for a forgotten treasure? I mean, really think about it. Imagine possessing rubies that literally shine like fire or diamonds brighter than the stars themselves. But to get them, you have to give up the memory of your first love, or maybe a perfect childhood afternoon. Hold that thought in your mind, because for us travelers on the Silk Road, this was not just some philosophical debate. It was a terrifyingly real temptation that I actually encountered in the dark.
So picture this. I was sitting by the fire, listening to these merchants just bragging and bragging about their gold, when this wrinkled old man, a guy whose eyes looked like they held 1,000 secrets, steps right out of the shadows. The other guys, they just laughed off the legend of the ghost market, but he silenced them instantly. His voice was all raspy, and he just said, "It exists, but only when the moon is full." He warned us that this city appears straight out of the sand itself, glowing with lanterns like stars. And the kicker? Those who stay behind when the sun rises are literally never seen again. Honestly, I was completely captivated. Now you have to understand, this wasn't your normal center of commerce. The Ghost Market is what you'd call an illusory city. It's like a mirage, but made completely solid. The merchants there aren't just selling goods. They're actually sinister collectors of human experiences. They will offer you the absolute world, but the price, it's your very identity. They trade magical, material wealth for your irreplaceable human memories. Basically, they take the exact things that make you human. Driven by this honestly pretty dangerous curiosity, I secretly left my caravan at dawn. 3 days, 3 agonizing days I endured in the scorching desert. The heat was just beating down on me, you know? The howling wind whipping sand into my eyes, and the sheer isolation of those dunes was really threatening to break my mind. By the third evening, total exhaustion was setting in, and I actually began to doubt my own sanity. But then, the sky finally darkened, the full moon rose above the horizon, and something completely impossible began to happen. Right before my exhausted eyes, an oasis of light erupted directly from the empty sand. It was like magic. The architecture was absolutely mesmerizing. We're talking tall towers stretching into the night sky, magnificent golden domes perfectly reflecting the moonlight, and the stone streets, they were suddenly bustling with life, illuminated by these crazy floating silver lanterns, while musicians played these really beautiful yet somehow haunting melodies. And right at the center, looming over the whole thing, was a grand stone palace guarded by imposing statues with glowing blue eyes. It was flawlessly designed to be the ultimate lure for unsuspecting visitors. But as I explored, the vibe grew deeply unsettling. The people there, they smiled, but their eyes were completely empty, just distant. I quickly figured out how their twisted economy worked. First, you browse stalls offering unimaginable wealth, rubies, diamonds, magical maps, you name it. Then you ask the price, and the smiling merchants tell you, "Oh, no gold required." Because you pay with a happy memory. You pay with your dreams, or literally years of your life. And then, having surrendered pieces of your own soul, you just join the throngs of people wandering the streets aimlessly, totally stripped of your identity forever. At this point, fear really gripped me. I knew something was horribly, horribly wrong. So I approached that massive palace in the center of the city. Inside, surrounded by these golden pillars, sat a mysterious figure draped in a pitch-black robe, the keeper of the market. Gathering every single ounce of my bravery, I asked him why the city only appears at night. He just laughed softly, a sound that completely chilled my blood, and replied, "Because it survives on things hidden in darkness." And right then, the true nature of the city's power clicked for me. It fed on hidden desires, unchecked greed, and the vulnerable memories of humanity. I knew I had to get out of there immediately. But as I made a break for the gates, a young boy actually ran up and begged me for help. Now, I had valued my mind over the treasures, right? I kept my identity safe so I could actually find a way out. But this boy, he'd fallen for the trap. For a mere golden necklace, he had traded away his precious memories. The result was just total emptiness. He couldn't remember his family. He couldn't even remember his own name. He had entirely lost his sense of self. Looking at that poor, hollowed-out kid, the ultimate warning against greed became devastatingly clear. It was a literal balance scale of material wealth against human identity. Think about it. On one side, you have glittering necklaces, diamonds, maps to lost kingdoms, which is really just cold, lifeless power. But on the other side, our cherished memories,
our personal dreams, the irreplaceable bonds we share with our families. When we trade our internal wealth for external validation, we become exactly like those empty-eyed wanderers in the city. We sacrifice the entire richness of the human experience for something completely hollow.
But I wasn't about to let this boy remain a hollow shell. We frantically searched for some kind of escape and spotted this ancient, abandoned tower tucked behind the palace. We rushed inside. There was a tight spiral staircase, and we just climbed as fast as we could. When we finally reached the top, there it was, an enormous golden hourglass, an ancient inscription carved right into the stone, and right next to it, a mysterious lever.
I read the ancient inscription out loud. It said, "When the final grain falls, the city shall vanish." I quickly glanced at the hourglass. The sand was almost entirely gone. Sunrise was literally minutes away. And it hit me. What would happen to us if we were still trapped inside? Suddenly, the room just turned to ice. The floating lanterns flickered and completely died out. Heavy footsteps started echoing up that spiral staircase. The keeper had found us. He stepped into the room, this massive looming shadow blocking our only way out. With only seconds to spare, I lunged forward and yanked that heavy lever. The whole tower shook violently. The hourglass shattered in this blinding burst of golden light. The keeper roared in absolute rage, and his black robe fell away to reveal a terrifying face made of swirling shadows and burning blue fire. I grabbed the boy's hand, and we just ran, down the stairs, sprinting through the streets. Buildings were literally dissolving into mist all around us. The solid stone beneath our feet was turning back into loose sand. This shadow monster chased us all the way to the gates, but just as it lunged for us, the very first rays of morning sunlight struck it, dissolving the creature into countless grains of sand. We collapsed into the dunes, totally breathless. The entire city just vanished into the desert air, as if it had never even existed. The spell was finally broken. I looked down at the young boy, and for the first time, he smiled through tear-filled eyes. He whispered, "I remember. My name is Hassan. I remember my family." And you know, all across the desert, wherever those trapped visitors had ended up, the magic dissolved. They finally regained their lost selves. Their joyous memories came rushing back, proving undeniably that the light of human connection absolutely conquers the darkness of supernatural greed.
Months later, I finally made it back to the safety of the Silk Road. And now, well, I sit at campfires just like this one, sharing this exact warning with any weary traveler who will listen to this explainer. The greatest treasures in this world are not gold. They aren't jewels or magical maps. Our true wealth lies in our memories, our dreams, and those irreplaceable connections we share with the people we love. You have to guard your soul against the temptations of the desert.
So, as we close out tonight's explainer, I want to leave you with this one thought. If you are ever wandering the Silk Road and the glowing lanterns of the Ghost Market appear in the dunes, offering you your wildest material dreams, what is the one memory you would absolutely never trade away? Ponder that under the moonlight as you consider what truly makes you who you are. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey around the fire. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll see you in the next explainer.